All right. Well, many blessings. It's another beautiful day here in California, and I wanted to have another discussion today about a few different things. I first like to start off by saying I hope you're having a fantastic time. I know a lot of things are going on in life right now, but the most important thing is that you keep true to yourself, right? Um, it's one thing that I've been doing unconsciously and consciously throughout my whole life. And I've kind of became more realized as time goes on. So I'd like to start off with this kind of interesting story here about Siddhartha Gautama, as you guys may or may not know as the Buddha, right? So the story goes with him is he was destined to be either a great sage or he was destined to be like a somebody to change the world. So or a king or a sage, right? So somebody who could help. He could control all of India at the time, had many kingdoms, and he was destined to be the ruler of all of them or be a great sage. And his dad, being a king, was so enamored by this, was like, nah, I want my son to be the best king. I want him to rule all over India. I want everybody to, be under him. And so his dad's idea was that he was going to shelter his son and all of this luxury and keep him away from the outside world to where he didn't know about suffering. He didn't know about death. He didn't even know about illness. All he had around him was the most beautiful men, beautiful women, exotic dancing and music and all the luxuries and imaginable in life that you could have within a kingdom this man had, and his father never let him experience anything. He was never hungry, he was never sad. He had all of the greatest, most positive emotions, um, to experience. And one day, I think he was around 26 or 27 years old. He asked his charioteer, his driver basically of the time. He says, I want you to take me outside the palace. I wish to see outside of what I know, right? As we do in our lives, saying that, all of what I've accumulated, that's fine, but there's got to be more to it. And this is the same idea. And this is why it's a very good point to make that we all go through the very same experiences. There's actually no difference between a Buddha, a Jesus, me, or you. It just depends on who or how you want to be, type of thing. And going more back to the story here, he's traveling with his driver. Then he sees an old man, like dying of old age, and he says, "What is this? Why is this man old? What happened to him?" And the driver looks back at him and says, that happens to everybody, my friend, kind of thing, or my prince. At the time he was a prince. This happens to everybody. You understand? Everybody will get old and die one day. And the guy goes, and Siddhartha goes, even me? I am in such good health. I am so strong, and so I will die. And the driver looks at him and says, yes, even you will die. And he was shocked. He had never experienced death in his life, but he is now seeing, or old age, and is seeing an old man and just taken aback. He didn't know. He thought this is what it was. I'm going to be this forever. The driver continues on. He sees a man who is sick and very sick, like as you can imagine, right? And he's never seen a sick person before. And he asks his driver, he says, what is this? Why is this man ill? How has this happen? And the driver looks back at him. He says, this happens to everybody. It is kind of, he says, even me, I'm in such good health and youth. I eat the best foods and drink the best things. Could never happen to me. He says, no, even you, even a king falls ill. Everybody, if you are meant to be, sickness is it doesn't really have it doesn't really have a person it doesn't affect, right? And and the so they continue on, and there's another now coming upon the third person. He says a dead body, and he has never seen death before. He's never experienced it. He's never, been a part of it. So he sees this and he asks the charioteer. He says, the driver, "Now, what is this? What happened to him?" He said, "This is death. This happens to all things. Everything goes back to the earth," kind of mentality. And he couldn't believe it. He says, "Even me?" He says, "I will no longer be." Yes, even you will no longer be. And one day. And so the uh, the they continue traveling, right? And he starts to realize that, within everything that he knew, just like us at given points in our lives, think that all that we knew was right and there was no difference, and I am everything is A and it could never be B, and et cetera, et cetera. This is how it's supposed to be, and I'm set and I'm stubborn. I'm not going to say it could be anything else. Today is this and that's that, you know. And then you realize that you're wrong and things can be different. And as soon as you say that something is something in a particular way, life always shows you that it's another way. And it's really important that we realize that in life that happens to all of us. We all go through Siddhartha Gautama's experience. We all live in that same way, have lived like the Buddha did. You know, um, even now, if you look at the world in general, everybody's more consumed with their phones, and even me right now, being online, being in this virtual world. Oh yeah, this is it. It's crazy because if you think about it, you know for this first 26, 27 years of Siddhartha Gautama's life, he lived in the Maya, right? Which is what was called the illusion, what we call the matrix in today's society. It's all the same thing. Um, and, his dad kept him in this matrix and he just didn't know. But as soon as he got the taste of truth on his tongue, on his eyes, once the five senses were actually seeing for the first time life as it truly is, he decided that none of what he was going to do anymore, I'm not going to stay in this illusion. Mind you, he had a son, I believe, and a wife he left behind, to abandon his Maya, his illusion, um, to live in reality. Of course, everybody knows the Buddha either as this big fat guy or this Asian, some kind of Vietnamese or whatever. The reality is, race, religion don't matter, but the facts are that he's actually Indian, right? Just like Jesus was from the Middle East, right? It's funny how when you want to use something, you change it, right? So if I want to say that you're going to listen to me, I'm going to say it was me, so that you know. And now everybody follows. I'll make a religion and everybody comes by because, blah, blah, blah. But the reality is, it doesn't even matter that he's white or Indian or not. It's just the fact that every single person is you. You can be living the way Jesus did or Buddha did or any person that you see, even Shiva. If you want to see how he lived his life, if you take it in the literal sense, then you are completely fooled by his way of living. But, like people think when their third eye opens, it's just going to fucking crack their skull open and it's just going to be this amazing beam of light you can just shine on everybody. But the reality is, it is an eternal representation of seeing oneself for truly what they are, not this illusion of who you think you are or whatever. And I'd like to add to this talking point that the idea that you quote yourself is ludicrous. Anybody who puts their name on anything in this lifetime is a fool, because the reality is all that you are and all that they have been is an accumulation of everything. So if you're going to put anything on something, you should probably just put the universe, because we're all one. So the reality is, if you try to say, "Oh, I built this, I did this," how proud are you when every single aspect of what you have is made from the earth, correct? So, if anything, how good is it to say that you wrote some symbols on a piece of either tree or one of the elements, right? It's ludicrous to think that any one of us has the right to say that we've done anything by our own right. This is me. I did this. Oh yeah, okay, if you want to say that, but that would mean that everything that you uh, have ever done is an accumulation of just you, right? Everything I experience, everything I know, everything my teacher taught me, my dad taught me, etc., is me now. I have made it myself, and that's why I put my name on things. It's kind of one of the bigger problems we have with the world is everybody tries to think that what they have as an identity, me, I, is more important than the aspect of us and all. We all are in this together. It doesn't matter if you don't talk to your neighbor, he still lives next door to you, does he not? Or she? Same thing. There is no escaping what it really is. You understand? So people say, well, I don't associate with this kind of person, so I'm better, or I don't associate with this person because I don't agree with their lifestyle. It doesn't matter if you like them, don't disagree with what they do, or don't do, because reality is you're still going to live in the same world that they're in. So it makes no difference how you feel. You understand? And that's why the whole thing is politics and social media and all of these things are just literally trying to get you to be opposed to something, to make you feel that everything that you are is represented. That way you can say that I am all of this. Now anything on this side I am against because I know I am right and I don't agree with left. So now right and left are fighting. And the funniest thing is this is the illusion. That right concept and the left concept, the I know and they don't, is a completely waste of time. You see, one thing I have thankfully understood in this lifetime is in this time that we're living in is the whole matrix or the whole Maya, the illusion in this lifetime is to make you spend as much time as possible doing absolutely everything without realizing what you're doing. I know that's a hard one to kind of just throw out there, but let me give you an example. Okay. The reason why um, they teach you it takes 18 years to become an adult, okay, to go through the school system and to become educated, right? Even if the biology they don't tell you really anything 100% useful, they just make things more complicated because the more complex a process becomes, the longer it takes you to accomplish it. Therefore, the longer it takes to accomplish it, the more time you're doing in it. That means you're not really doing what you need to be doing because you're making a glass of water. I could, like pouring a glass of water. I could just say, this is how you do it. You just lift the tap, put the glass there, it fills up, right? But if I wanted to be an asshole, if I wanted you to waste your life, I would tell you that this is the most intricate thing you're going to do in your entire existence, that you gotta wait for the exact amount of drops. You have to count every drop as it goes in there. If it's not the right drop, if it drops too fast or too slow, you have to start over. You see what I'm saying? This is what they have done to you your entire life. They have literally made something so simple, just living, a complex thing to where you have spent your entire life trying to understand it instead of doing it. And that's kind of where we are in society. We're a bunch of people trying to understand everything and not be it. People want to know, what does my liver do? What does my kidney do? What does this do? Everybody wants to figure something out instead of just experiencing it, right? Instead of wondering the compounds or properties that make up the water, you could just drink it and understand that it gives you life and be appreciative of it and move on to something else. But instead you'd rather find out the different molecules and how it's varied and how the vibration of the water can be changed and the different aspects and properties you can evolve in that water. You see what I'm saying? Your life has done this entirely. All you have done is try to understand everything without really appreciating what it was, right? Like I'll give you the best example, right? Imagine you have 10 apples. Well, I want to put 5 of these apples plus 5 of these apples equals 10 apples, correct? Well, the thing is, if you just keep pushing 5 plus 5 equals on a calculator, do you ever realize that you could be possibly counting apples, bananas, oranges, people, money, anything? No, you don't. Because you're just trying to find what 5 plus 5 equals. And that's all you've been doing your life, is not realizing that they could have been apples, bananas, peaches, pears, people, plants, anything, but all you were mainly focused on was the 5 plus 5, right? and not the aspect of it meaning something. And that's why you just gotta live life instead of trying to deduce it or try to say, I know this, I have figured out all the answers. Even if a person knew everything, it wouldn't matter to anyone. Because if you think about it, we've had lots of great, fantastic people across this history of this existence. And I believe that there are more Buddhas and Jesuses and so on and so forth than the ones they were known for. I don't think Siddhartha Gautama was the first Buddha. I think he was the first written one. You understand me? I think there was many Jesuses, many gurus, many of everything. But the reality is, probably the most prominent and memorable ones were probably the ones that weren't remembered. Because if I understand this correctly, right, with a higher state of consciousness, that everything is one, that all that we have already done is an accumulation of all that we are. So every single person is a part of you or a part of them, however you want to look at it, one and the same. And the reality is that it doesn't, if I know that everything that I am is an accumulation of all that there's been and all that there is, then when I go to write my name on something, I'm only fooling myself to think that I'm the one who did it. You understand me? And it's the same thing that those guys did. I'm not saying they were bad at all. I promise you, I love the work they did. I think they're fantastic people, and I think there's divinity in everybody. I think every single person has a little bit of God in them, somewhere in there. And so I think it's really important that people realize that what we have to do is live our lives to the fullest possible, and know that there are probably more prominent figures in history that aren't recorded in history because they realize what I realized, that there's no point putting your name on anything, because yes, you may be remembered, but they will only remember you. And I don't want anyone to just remember me. I want everyone to remember the truth, because my time and your time, we are all just going to be ash. That's all it is. All the food you eat is ash. It's all life turning into death, and death turning into life. And it's just this continuous thing. So the most important thing that we can realize as people is that, we're gonna die, and we're gonna go into the ground again. So how many things are you going to accumulate before you've had enough? You understand me? How many things are you going to work for until you've had enough? Is there another shirt that we really, really can't live without? Maybe it's a car you just can't live without driving. Maybe it's a house you can't live without living in. Maybe it's a person you just can't see yourself without. Whatever the case may be, you have to understand you're only fooling yourself. The idea that there's anything that you can acquire that'll be everything that you need is the biggest dumb shit you can do to yourself. And I don't care who you are. You could have everything, you can have nothing. But if you at any given point in your life, if you convince yourself that one single thing is gonna be the all be all for you, you're fooling yourself. Because in reality, there's not if you had $1 million today, more than you have now, right? If you could go and there was no taxes, no nothing, if you could have any, forget even the money aspect, if you could just have anything you wanted in the world right now, right? And somebody just asked you to simply speak it or think it and it would exist like a genie. I'm your genie for today, right? Everything you wish for, boom, there. How long before you stop until you run out of ideas or realize that all the objects of your desire are meaningless? You understand me? Say you fill a room, say you fill the world with all the material things that you've desired from existence, even in thought, not even in just desire, just thinking of everything. Put all of that in a room, okay? Then what are you going to do? That's what I'm telling you to do with your life, is stop filling the room with all the things that you don't need, because it ain't getting you anywhere there you think you're going to go. You understand? And I know for parents, this is a very hard concept because they want to give their children everything. I just want them to have what I didn't. But what they fail to realize is, by being their parent, giving birth to them, they have already been giving something that nobody else could have given them, right? Genetically, they have everything they need, all that you are, right? And parents say, I want them to have what I didn't have. Okay. But everything you didn't have, didn't you find a way to get? didn't it happen some way or another anyways? Wasn't it all of your energy and focus to becoming and finding and developing new skill sets and pushing yourself further than you've ever gone before to acquire what it is you want? That is the value in obtaining things, is realizing how many ways you will manipulate, change, and reform yourself to acquire it. And the thing is that what you really want for your children? Yes, I want my kids to go out there in the world and find all the materialistic things that they can find, maintain it within themselves, and say yes, that this is all that they have been worth. But then you're only putting a value on your children. You understand me? If you say my child's a millionaire, is he only worth a few million to you? Is the money the only aspect of? Oh no, it's not. But I do. I just want people to know. I just want people to know. Yeah, it's funny to me. I have a cousin. Yeah, I have family. Yeah, I mean I love my family. I don't judge them. Yeah, they do. Everybody does what they're supposed to do. Yeah. But the funniest thing that always made me laugh with the Indian culture, and it's not laughable now because I'm not, I wish to educate the ignorance. I don't want people to assume that because it's something's funny and you know something more than somebody that you should be, feel like haha, poor idiot doesn't know. No, this is wrong. We should teach each other. And the thing is, right? In the culture that we live in, what they do, or the culture that the Indian people that my family, the way that they live in their societal life and stuff is, the idea is that you get married and you stay home and you live at home with your mom, your dad, your sisters, your brothers, and everybody. The one house, not a mansion, by the way. It's about 6 rooms, I believe, right? And there's about 12 people living there, maybe a little bit less. Okay. And Mexican families and Indian families, they do this. They live in a, they have all of their family living together, and it can be a great thing. Okay, it's a great thing because what happens is you got to understand they come from nothing. All of them had nothing. Now all of them have one home, and what happens is they get jobs, they move on, they go right, they blossom, and they kind of move out, and so on and so forth. See, the funniest thing is in Indian culture is they want to, or the way that it happened in that particular moment, I should say, to be more correct, is that I'm gonna spend $50,000 on a wedding, okay, money, but then I'm gonna continue to live at home. You see what I'm saying? And the whole idea is that you do your own thing, and there's nothing wrong with that because that could be the right choice. But the reality is there's nothing you're gonna do with money that's gonna make it better or worse. You understand? If they moved out and got their own place, or if they, just spent it on the wedding to show off to people that yes, they're in love and they're happy, and we've made this, written contract, and for everybody to know that this is how we are going to treat each other, that's great. But reality is, it's a contract. You're literally celebrating words on a paper. Huh? You think people were married 1,000 years ago? People were together and that was it. There's no papers. There's no rings. If you spent time with the person, you were with that person. It was simple. Only when we started to separate ourselves and say, well, I wear a ring because, I this is mine, and it's mine, and I know it's mine, and it'll always be mine. And okay, smart guy. Yeah, divorce happens anyways, right? I'm just saying things do go wrong. There's no the idea that you think something is yours is always taken away from you in time. So the people who think, if you think you're gonna hold on to something forever, I promise you it's gonna be gone. And that's why that whole saying is, if you love somebody enough, if you really love somebody, you let them go. Because if it's meant to be, they'll be there. There's no idea in possession. There's no saying like, no, I love this person, so they're gonna be right here, and you're gonna stay at home and have my kids, and do what I need you to do, and that's it. No, that's not right at all. That's not how you're supposed to be. It's not, there's no right or wrong way, but I don't think that is a very productive way, right? Everybody is right in their time. I always feel this way with Jesus and Buddhas and the gurus, and even the Egyptians. Everybody was right in their time, but some things are timeless, right? Truth is the highest form of religion, and truth is the one thing that doesn't have an expiration date. I'll say that again. Truth is the highest religion. Okay? Yes, it is. And truth does not have an expiration date. A lie will always come to its truth at some point. It'll always break apart and fall apart. All lies have an expiration date unless they're told continuously, right? But the truth, it never expired, and that's what religion and everything else and every person was trying to do, was explain that the truth doesn't go anywhere. The Maya, the illusion, the I need more than everyone else in order to be satisfied and to feel better than someone, is you playing against yourself. Because you don't see value in yourself, you think you need something. You understand me? That's where people go wrong. Just because I don't feel like I'm worth $1 million, I need $1 million worth of shit around me. You understand me? That's what people do. It's like, I want to have X, Y, and Z, so I equal this. Because if I have what X plus Y plus Z equals, then that's me. No, no, no. That's X plus Y plus Z. That doesn't equal you. That just equals what it is, the accumulation of it. But people confuse themselves and say, well, no, this is me. I own this truck, I own this house, I own this child, I own. But guess what happens when you die? You go right back into the ground. So there is what is yours. If anything, it's all the earth's, and we're just these weird people who keep manifesting things out of it. I want a bigger house, I'm going to cut this tree. I need paper to write my thoughts on, I'm going to cut this tree. Why would you harm something in order to be something? This is the biggest thing I have always this is the hardest thing I have to understand about the way people are. And everybody says, oh, well, dogs are stupid, animals are dumb, and the plants are a waste, we don't need them, more buildings the merrier. Okay, then how come we're the only intelligent species on the planet that hasn't figured out how to live? Huh? Explain that to me. Why, out of all the species in existence on this planet, have figured out how to coexist with one another, right? The bugs and the plants and the bigger bugs and the animals eating the animals and all this shit happening, right? How come they know how to be without fucking up the planet and we don't? And we claim to be the most intelligent species on the planet. Well, it seems to be a fooled ourselves, right? If we're the most intelligent, then by their standard, we're the most ignorant and arrogant, assuming that we have accumulated all of this because we are, because this is what it's supposed to be. All this is earth, all the elements, right? That's all this is. Elemental, you five, this five, same shit. No difference. So why do you need to encapsulate yourself, right? Oh, I need to be online. I need to be in a house. I need to be away from the environment. I need the AC on at 70 degrees or I'm not okay. Have you forgot that your body regulates temperature on its own? Have you forgot that your body does a lot of the things by letting it do it, and by putting yourself in an environment, you're only putting yourself in a cage. And don't get me wrong, you can put animals in cages. That's what they call a zoo. But do they live as long as they do in the wild? Are they living a happy life? You think it'd be nice to be sitting in a room? Imagine if you were locked in your house right now, as you guys all may be with COVID, right? And somebody and people would just come walk by and pointing at your window and knocking on it, just trying to get a reaction or a rise out of you. That'd be fucked up, wouldn't it? But that's what you do when you go to the zoo. You participate in torture. You participate in slavery for animals. And I promise you, if that was a person in there and animals were walking by and you were that person being chained and balled and animals were just yelling and throwing foods at you and taking pictures and flashing all kinds of synthetic materials in your face, you would have a hard time finding out what reality is, whether or not you were an intelligent species that could communicate those feelings or not. It'd be a very hard thing to enjoy. And the thing is we got to live in this world, with the more consideration for all life around us. And I want to make this point clear again because it is so misconstrued. Okay, it does not matter if you are a vegan, a meatitarian, a person who is anything. If you appreciate every aspect of what you're doing, it's okay to an extent, right? You can't say, "Oh, I killed this person. And I appreciate me killing him, so it's okay." No, I'm saying if you can eat the food and be thankful of it, it's appreciated. You understand me? Because just because a plant doesn't cut, scream, bleed, or any of those things when you rip it out of the ground, doesn't mean that you aren't killing it. Doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt. I mean, if you were, if I duct taped your mouth, silenced all of the senses, you couldn't do anything but damn near just breathe. Okay. And then I, started just, ripping your arm off and taking your finger apart and, ripping your hair out just because you wouldn't be able to make an audible sound that everybody could hear, would that not just be silent torture? Well, my friends, I would like you to understand this very simple concept that whether you eat a plant or a beef or a nice steak, whatever the hell you eat, right? It doesn't make a difference. As long as you appreciate the aspect of what it was from its beginning until its consumption, you're all right. Honestly, I think that's all that matters because the idea is that we push on these narratives to people. You got to be a vegan. You got to drink only water, no processed foods. Reality is, most of what you go into the grocery store for is bad for you. You know this. The best food you could have is the stuff you grow yourself, but more than likely, nobody's going to really do that. We live in a society that's built on depending on the government, depending on all of these people to provide for us. And what you guys are going to see within this year, once what you're going to see as time moves forward, is that everything is bullshit. And all that matrix illusion stuff that you've been convincing yourself of I need the new Jordans and I want the Travis Scott sweater and all these crazy ideas, is just a waste of your time, because one way or another you were just trying to impress somebody or find value in yourself, and by putting on clothes doesn't make you worth any more than being damn near naked in front of somebody, because that's the truth, right? You want to see who a real person is made of? Stand there butt naked in front of them and be like, look, this is what I am, 100%. I don't care if you like it or don't. This is what I got. What you got? You understand me? That is what it's supposed to be. I'm not saying we should all be naked because some of y'all are just freaky, but reality is, like, I could be 100% nude and feel comfortable with myself. Why? Because this is what it was made to be, just as it is. It wasn't meant to be clothed. If you were meant to have money, you would have been born with it. If you were meant to have clothes, you would have born clothes on. The only clothes you need are the one that are on your body. It's called skin. It's the part that absorbs the sunlight, the nutrition when you're outside, this stuff. Yeah, your clothes can't do that. I'm sorry. They don't absorb nutrition, but your skin does. You know what I'm saying? Your hair too. It absorbs energy. And if you cut your hair, you are only cutting off the nerves that are contributing to giving you energy. So the most important thing is every aspect of your being. The way you were born was the way that it was meant to be. Imagine if a lizard was born out of, was born today and the mom just started cutting off its head and its fingers and its tail. Oh, well, son, no. You weren't born with everything you needed. This is how you were supposed to be. But obviously, every other species in the world that I know of literally does not do that. But human beings cut themselves, modify their bodies, change it into a way that fits their narrative. But nobody, no other species on the planet does this. But we do. That should tell you a lot. We could learn a lot just from the animals and plants instead of the stupid books that are written by people, which we all know people damn near have probably more flaws than nature itself, because we're always trying to convince ourselves of what's not really there. Stop living in the illusion, my friends. It's time to wake up, get outside, breathe in that good ass prana, you know what I'm saying? And just live, man. Man, shout out to Infinity Waters, man. Y'all should go check him out, man. He's pretty legit, you know what I mean? It's like, when you hear somebody, it's almost like you're just reminded of what it really is, you know what I'm saying? I love that there's a lot of chosen people out there, a lot of good people. Everyone's a chosen person, you know what I'm saying? You just got to see that divinity within yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because reality is every single part of everything, the ant to you is a part of the light, which is a part of God. And they even say this all in the Bible and all this stuff, but you don't know because you let some priest who said he know more than you tell you what's up. You know what I'm saying? You let a guy with Frankenstein and mirror go all up and down the hallways and you don't even know what it was. And he told you if you did this, it was black magic, that you couldn't do this stuff. But if you do it on your home, you start to find peace and tranquility with essential oils. But they'll tell you don't use essential oils. That's black arts. That's witchcraft. That's all this shit. Okay, so you're telling me by putting life in the essence of a bottle and then allowing that to be aromatic around me is a bad process and that I'm going to hell for it? Okay. The funny thing is, you don't know, but God is the devil and God. He's both the light and the dark. And you are both the light and the dark, as you are masculine and feminine. We keep going back to this thing of balance. You cannot be one without the other. As above, so below. Get the shit right. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to help, man. Wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. It's all inside of you. Everything. You know what I'm saying? Buddha sat under a Bodhi tree and just meditated. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't no magic being that came from the fucking skies or some magic god or a book that fell down. It was just him sitting there, just realizing what life's about. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we have to do is just sit a little still, you know what I'm saying? And realize that all this shit is so meaningless because of all the tens of thousands of years humans have walked this earth and had a cultural historical significance written down in archaeological finds and so on and so forth. They never found some shit that we have. You know why? Because they didn't find it useful. There was no fucking reason for them to have any of those things. They didn't need it, and they still have things to stand today. I tell this again, as I say, man, I say this all the time. Everything, if all the people in the States right now just stopped interacting with everything that is created on this continent, within 2 to 300 years, the shit would be like I Am Legend. You seen that movie? Yeah. It would be literally just grass and everything would decay and the earth would take back over. But you go to India, they have these temples that have been sitting there for 10,000 years and still look damn near more immaculate than some of the shit that we can create this day because they realized what would be and what would not be. You see what I'm saying? This whole Maya, this whole illusion that we're living in is only controlled by the idea that it is temporary. They understand you're going to die and go back. But you know what? It's okay because they're going to be rich and enjoy life and just keep tricking people into spending their whole lives avoiding the real question: who the fuck am I? Beyond the clothes, the money, the drugs, the people, who the fuck am I? That's a question you need to find out. And you are everyone. That's what you don't understand. That's like the crazy shit. When you get on some higher consciousness stuff, you're going to realize that every single aspect of what you see is a part of you, and that if you don't like something, that's hella funny because there's some things that people don't like about you. So if you like everything about everybody and find a way to just accept it, that there is people that are more light and there are people that are more dark, and that's in energetic levels, and some of them are going to be really good for you and some of them are going to be really bad, but you, my friend, have to spend the time to find out what is you. You know what I'm saying? And then you're gonna say, "Oh wow, I am both light and dark. Yeah, I've been happy, but only because I know how it feels to be sad. And I've had money, and I've appreciate money only because I knew what it not to have it. And I know what I appreciate food because I knew what it meant to be hungry. You understand me? And that's why there's a lot of those people like Buddhists and so on and so forth that will, they'll be, they won't have sex, they won't do drugs, they won't eat for long periods of time. The idea is to basically make yourself suffer. The more you suffer, the more you start to appreciate, and finding out what you really need, opposed to what you convince yourself. Well, I need my weed, and I need my cigarettes, and I need my beer, and I need my potato chips, and I need my wife to do X, Y, and Z to me every night, or husband, whatever. And it's like you don't need any of that shit. You just tell yourself that, but nothing is needed. You don't need shit. It's crazy to me that we've lived for so long in this illusion. And, I keep, I brought up earlier that there are probably more Buddhas and Jesuses within history that we'll ever realize, but they must have known that there was no point being recorded down because that would be a lie. Because saying that I did this would be saying that you yourself was the only reason why everything you know happens, or everything that you know is just because you. But that's not true. Your parents taught you how to walk, talk, shit, wipe your ass, and everything. So who are you gonna thank? Exactly. Not just them, because then your teachers in school taught you things. The people on the street taught you things. The animal across the road taught you how to love. You understand me? All of these things happen. So are you going to go and write down, thanks, mom, dad, dog, friend, cousin, lover, teacher? No, you're not. But you can just put the information out there and never say you could either put no one would probably be I'm nothing, it'd be the better one, or just don't even put a quote. Just write the information, you know? And that's what I want to do. I don't want my name on anything. I don't even I don't want to be remembered. I don't. People, that's the one thing everybody wants in this life is I just want to be remembered. That's why your name goes on a plaque or on a statue, or your mom keeps it on the refrigerator by a magnet. I just want to be remembered. And your mom just wants to remember. And your father just wants to remember that person that you are in that moment. You understand? But they know that the sweetness doesn't stay. That you're going to become a teenager and have your, things. So stop trying to be remembered is my biggest advice I can give anybody from all of this conversation and discussion today is stop trying to be remembered, because every single thing is a part of the experience, and you are part of every single person that's a part of your own experience. So you're not really you as much as you're an accumulation of everything. That's what we are. And I must have been around some pretty good thing, because your boy feeling pretty good on some shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you guys really want to know, I'm broke. Like, I've been broke for a year and 6 months. This is a quick backstory of who I am. Just, I mean, or what my experience is, not who I am, but what my experiences have been in the last year and 6 months. I was working 3 jobs. And I wanted to work at this place for 2 years, and I finally got an opportunity. So I had let one of my jobs go. And during that time that I got the new job, I actually kept all three. And by the time I got injured from the job, I had let go of all of them, right? But I was in the process of ending one of the three I had so I can keep the two. And I worked at a stone company, and I was a bouncer at a nightclub, and I worked at a retail clothing store all at the same time. And um, what happened was I've been, in the best shape of my life at this time. I'm in, phenomenal shape. I mean, for at my personal peak, or my personal best. And I break my back by lifting 100 pounds the last stone of the day, or the last tiles of the day, that I had to hand load into a pickup truck, and I protruded both two discs in my spine. I was unable to walk, could feel my leg, got nerve damage in my left buttocks right now, and in general, I have like permanent nerve damage. Um, and I have nothing. I'm in a lawsuit with these people and all this fun loving things, right? But I have no money. I don't have great health. I'm still working on my health every day, doing yoga, meditation, mantras, and just finding balance within myself. Not even associating myself with the actual pain or the discomfort, just realizing that every day is an opportunity to improve the functionality of the body, regardless if it improves the particular problem that I see or think needs to be addressed. And I have less than most. It's funny because I broke my back, and then next thing you know, life, coronavirus happens, and everybody else is broken away too, right? I mean, the whole society just boom. Mind you, my event happened in I think it was June. Yeah, June 12th last year, right? 666, beautiful date. And so I broke my back then, and I've been broke financially and so on and so forth. Lost my car. I mean, I have nothing, and I'm not upset at that. Honestly, I'm not. I don't, because everything I've gained now in spirituality and realization and higher consciousness, there's no value that you can put on it. Blessed 1138. Um, and I think it's so interesting, that everything I am now is just so much of just a different level of experience in life every day. But what a main point of why I'm explaining this story is that I'm still going through it to this day, and a year and 6 months, and I have no money coming in. I don't have any financial plans for the future. But the reality is that I don't care. I just don't. I think the money is just a waste of time. I mean, like I said, what am I going to gain? What am I going to have? What do I want? When you're sick, all you want is your health, and when you're health, all you want is luxury. And every time you have one thing, you want the next. And every time you don't have something, you just want that. So, me personally, excuse me personally, I'm not interested in financial means anymore. I used to always wonder, people always say, become a doctor or a lawyer or a business owner. It's like, what about the people who volunteer their whole lives? Are those people just like losers in those people's eyes because they've done nothing with their life to accumulate shit? Because you don't own anything, you ain't worth anything. What if you're just helping human beings? What if you're just a humanitarian in its true essence? Does that make you worse or less valuable than the person who has something? No, it doesn't. They say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Well, so is value. You know what I'm saying? And if you think that everything is beautiful and everything has a value, then you're living pretty good because, life tends to treat you right. So it's it's important to understand that the world is changing, and we just went through an equinox. I believe it's what's not an equinox, a solstice. I think it's called solstice. I'm gonna get that right. But on the 22nd, yesterday, was a significant moment in everybody's lives, whether you realize it or not. Everything has changed. We're governed by the cycles of the stars, right? The moon, the Earth cycle, the Earth. The 28 days that make up the moon cycle, the cycle around the earth, all of those cycles that happen within the astronomy governs us. And every time we go through an astronomical change up there, it affects us down here. So what I'm telling you is everything has changed with you, whether you understand it or not. Um, so as this, triple Taurus, triple Capricorn, Grand Trine, 47 in Trine, would tell you is the Earth has changed. Okay. A triple Capricorn, triple Taurus tells you the Earth has changed. Probably a good thing to listen, right? Because I'm pretty grounded. Um, you know, I hope one day I'll just turn into a tree, just stand somewhere and turn into like the oldest oak tree ever in existence. That'd be the dopest thing, wouldn't it? Just stand there and turn into a grand old tree, like a wisdom tree. Just a tree. Like, that'd be awesome. Like, man, I would love to be the Bodhi tree that Buddha sat in front of. Not because I would claim anything of it, just because I just want to be like the natural aspect that teaches people stuff. Like, I just want to be the bee that gives you enlightenment. I don't want to be the person. I want to be the sunshine that just shined a little differently that day, just so you could find the light within yourself. The mirror. That's all I always, it's kind of the finishing point. I'm a mirror, you know what you see in me, you see in yourself, whether you understand it or don't. And even if you don't like me, you probably don't like parts of yourself. But if you like everything about yourself and you genuinely like people for what they are, then there's nothing to be concerned with. You know. Uh, so I just want to make this, video to encourage you to find your true meaning, your true purpose beyond the illusion. Realize that everybody does get sick. People do die. You know, it's been happening from the beginning of time. Doesn't matter that it's a coronavirus or swine flu, whatever it is that's been killing people. Death has always been a part of life. Okay, it's important that all you do, that you never let what you can't control you. Okay. Yes, that includes living in the illusion. So I love you. I want you to know that there's not a part of you that I would change. I accept you for all that you are, and I understand that you were brought here in your completeness and that you're living your life's mission to your fullest, ambitions. and you're trying to do things in the way that's true. And I appreciate that. I really, really love you as a person because I realize that we all have so much here that we're meant to do. And there's no such thing as good and bad. It's only if it fits a narrative. And there's no narrative with me. So all that you are, I love and I accept. So namaste. I see a light within you. I hope it shines forever. And you guys have a fantastic day. You know, love thyself, you know, give and receive and just be all that you are beyond what people say. Blessings.